This is W2FJH bringing up the STNY digital voice net on Grandmaster Talk Group 31367, Wires X Room 83721, and on Zoom. The primary purpose of the STNY digital voice net is to help foster an active digital voice community in the southern tier of New York and to provide a forum for those who are interested or have questions regarding various digital voice topics. While this net is primarily for the southern tier, all stations are more than welcome to check in. This net meets weekly on Saturdays at 7 p.m. Again, the call is Whiskey 2 Foxtrot Juliet Hotel, and the name here is Frank. We'll first take a standby for any stations with emergency or priority traffic. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard there. If there is any emergency or priority traffic during this net, please give your call sign followed by the word break spoken 2 times. Please leave a 4 to 5 second pause between transmissions for breaking stations or for those who wish to disconnect the talk group. This is a directed net. The format will follow announcements, questions, and comments. This net utilizes NetLogger, which can be found at netlogger.org. NetLogger is not required, but we will take additional voice check-ins. For more information about this net or to join the Zoom meeting, please visit stnydmr.net. That's Sierra Tango November Yankee Delta Mike Romeo.net. You can also find us on 73.net. That's Sierra Echo Victor Echo November numeric 3.net. This net will prioritize mobile in and out or emergency power stations, followed by NetLogger check-ins, followed by voice check-ins. We currently do have 3 other stations checked in through NetLogger, so the net would like to recognize KC9 ATK Brian, NE2W Ed, and N30JP Nick. All right, when checking in, please give your call sign, your name, and your location. So let's take a standby for any and all stations that would like to check into the STNY digital voice net. Please call now.
This is Kilowatt Bravo 2, Sierra, Italy, November. This is Alpha India 6, India Golf, John in Ridgecrest, California.
Okay, then I would like to recognize KB2SIN, Bill, and AI6IG John. Are there any other stations to join this evening? Please call now.
Kilo Echo 2, Alpha November, Quebec. Bring it to New York. Alpha Bravo 2, Gulf Delta. I'm out roaming right now.
Okay, then I would like to recognize KE2ANQ John and AV2GD Gary. Gary, so you said you were roaming there. We'll get to you first there, just in case you were going to be out of range. I'm guessing you might be portable or mobile. So we'll get your comments right away there. So just by the way, the net topics for this evening is CB radio dead? Or do you have any good stories to tell about when CB radio was in its heyday? So we'll get to announcements and questions after we hear from Gary. So Gary, AB2GD, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Frank. This is AB2GD here. Actually, I am mobile, but I'm out of town and I am using a hotspot. But I just think it's pretty neat that even if I'm out of town, I can still connect with people from back home. So it's not really pressing. I will be here, I guess, for the duration. And as far as CV goes, I do have a CV, but I'm not on there very much. So I'm curious to see what other folks say about that topic. So I'll pass it back to you. This is AB2GD.
Yeah, very good. Thanks there, Gary. And yeah, it is well, it is always great that with DMR that you can get a hold of the Southern Tier even if you're out and traveling or visiting other areas. So, all right, let's kick things off. If there's any announcements for this evening, please call now. Into NCB checking in. All right, and then I would like to also recognize N2NCD Paul. Hopefully you weren't doubling up there a few times, and I might have missed you. So, all right, if there's any questions for this evening, please call now. Okay, nothing heard there either. So we will kick things off for comments. And just a quick reminder there that that topic is CB radio dead? And do you have any good stories to tell when CB was back in its heyday? So we'll send things over. Top of my list is KC9ATK. Brian, how was your week there? Good evening, Frank. Hello to the rest of the group. Reasonably good week this week. We had some mild weather here in Western New York, about 50 miles south of Rochester. TV radio is sort of an interesting topic. I don't know how relevant my information is because I no longer own a CB radio. I'll say that about 18 months ago, my wife and I, we took a road trip for about 3 months. We hit 26 states. And during that time, I had both an Yaesu FTM 300 and a CB radio in the vehicle. And I don't think I ever heard a single call on CB except for truckers relaying, traffic information and, of course, some nonsensical type talking. Anytime I ever put out a call, I never had anybody come back to it. That said, I had almost the same experience on the FTM 300. I had probably 200 repeaters programmed into that. And if I had a half a dozen, QSOs, that was probably it. I constantly monitored the simplex frequency 146.52 and maybe had 2 conversations over close to 16,000 miles. So I don't know. And the folks I know who are very active in CV have all switched over to GMRS. The cost of the license, the higher output of the power, which I say the sophistication of some of the newer rigs, things like that market segment of the people I know who yeah, we do have JH. We might have lost there, Brian, right near the end there. You had just mentioned that a lot of CB people had just moved over to GMRS. So I'll hand it back to you there to finish up there.
Okay, I may have timed out. I'm sorry about that. I got a long-winded. Yeah, I think a lot of people have moved over that I know were still active on TV within the last 5 years. They switched over to GMRS because the cost of licensing is very reasonable, and a lot of the equipment today is certainly more sophisticated than the TV equipment I'm familiar with. That said, I haven't looked at TV equipment in probably at least a decade, so I don't know if my opinion is relevant anymore. I'll turn it back to you, Frank. This is KC9HEK.
Hey, very good there, Brian. And yeah, interesting to know that a lot of the TV people that you used to know have moved on to GMRS. We had just talked about GMRS a few weeks ago there, and yeah, we were talking about the CB dead space there. So that's kind of was one of the questions. Is it really dead, or is it still active in certain communities there? But yeah, you traveled quite a few states, so. Next on my list is NHW. Hey Ed, how was your week there?
Well, hey, Frank, and everyone on the NASDAQ group tonight. We're up to 10 check-ins. A good week, can't complain. Got my car back. Uh, my son's car uses a lot of oil, but the dealer brought everything up to date, and now they want to actually watch the oil consumption themselves, so we're doing that. Very impressed. They're standing behind it, and did get my car back. We had a one cold day there. We've been having this unusually warm weather, and I guess it's going to continue. But yesterday was not only cold but windy. CB, it goes way back. I mean, back in I want to say 76 time frame when I was attending Auburn University, and we would drive from New York State down to Alabama in the fall, home for Christmas, and then in the summer. We didn't come home for Easter, Thanksgiving like that. It was too far to go. But traveling back and forth, it came in handy. Put a 102-inch whip off the back of my Pontiac Catalina. 5 watts, didn't need a lot of power, but the antenna gave you good ears. And I didn't know it at the time, but I learned that later with ham radio. Your antenna is your strong point, not having a lot of power and a big mouth. You really need the ears. If you've got a good antenna system, and you can hear those indoor antennas and like that. But I digress. So we had a good setup in the car, and it was great for traveling. Let me take a break. It was great. You get on the interstate and ask for a report. Of course, they tell you where the smokies were, if you will. But as you traveled, you learned where the good places to eat were, or where there's traffic trouble ahead. It was indispensable with traveling. A lot of good information. Later, well, me and my best friend commuted back and forth. He went there before me, and then he talked me into joining him. And then later his brother joined us. So then we would go down with, 2 or 3 cars, and we would use the CBs to follow each other. So we didn't have to stay on their bumper. The other guy could go ahead and, he had a good 10, 15, 20-mile range. So one guy could pull off and get gas, and you can keep going, and then tell him, hey, you can catch up. There's no police between me and you. Catch up to us. You didn't have to keep them in your line of sight as long as you had the radio. But like I said, it was great for travel. A lot of good information and like that. So, of course, you did know where the smokies were, but usually the flow of the traffic gave you that too.
and just watching people ahead of you, their brake lights came on. But traffic was, once you get south of Pennsylvania, the road's flat and straight, and you can go pretty good. You do have to slow down in the cities. That's usually where the police are. So, I don't know. I guess that's it. I did enjoy having it. We did have our ham licenses at the time, but for traveling on the road, the CB era was great. Back to you, Frank, Mr. ECW.
Hey, thanks there, Ed. And yeah, I thought of that when you said no cops between me and you, and then later on you mentioned it too. I was thinking in my head, Smokey and the Bandit right there. So thanks for reminding me that I might have to rewatch that movie once again. There. So, all right, next on my list is N3OJP. Nick, how was your week there? Oh, good evening, Frank. Everybody on the net. Yeah, CB. Same as that. When I traveled quite a bit, I used it primarily for the weather and traffic reports. Pennsylvania Turnpike, Ohio Turnpike. Not a real fast driver. Um, More comfortable around the speed limit. So as far as where the police were, that didn't bother me too much. But it was useful. Yeah, this afternoon I was just listening. Well, I got back here about 5. I was busy today, and there's a station. 10 meters was just booming this morning. Late afternoon, there was a fellow out of Japan on 10 meters, 28,470. He's pretty much faded out now. So see what happens tomorrow. Anyway, busy week. I'm at home. I'm in Beaver Falls right now, but I was at Chautauqua Lake Monday through. Oh, I left Thursday morning just to get up there. It's funny not walking around in snow. You know, just walking around in the grass. But did some fishing, chased the steelheads a little bit. That's all I did was chase them. Didn't catch any. Then Thursday got home about 4:30 and had one of the club meetings. It was Thursday night, so that was a long day. And Friday I I moderate an FL Digi training course. So I was busy with that. And this morning, the one club that I'm in, they do an educational series. So they had it on Skype this morning. It goes for 2 hours. The first hour they talked about POTA. A lot of interest in POTA. And we also have a lot of new members this year. And then the second half was one of the guys talked about the different functions on your radio, such as the noise blanker, noise reduction, your preamps. Let me get a reset. N3OJP. Yeah, and how to use those features, maybe how to change your audio. And he referenced ICOM, like the 7300, the Yaesu. I think he had a 819, and he mentioned, he was doing some demonstrations. So again, with a lot of new people, this machine, like with 7300, it's got the twin filters, but some of the guys really didn't know how to use it. So some pretty good explanations there on how to take advantage of some of the features and the functions on the different radios. So that's one thing that the club does. They do a lot of educational. Well, I participate again with FL Digi. And next week they do have a POTA outing. One of the state parks here, the group has a cabin. So they're going to go down there and activate and have some fun with that. So pretty active group of POTA. But good week. Grandson's here tonight, so that's even better. Frank, I'll turn it back to you. W2FJH and 30JP. Hey, very good then, Mick. And thanks for helping out and, performing our, doing that education for everybody. It's a great service when hands can help out and everything. So, and also you did mention POTA.
I know I've taken up steam, and I know one of the things you said. I think it was there was an antenna. Shoot, I remember the name of it now. I did have it pulled up in one of my bookmarks there. I was actually meaning to talk to you about that. Maybe after the net there about some of the HF antennas. All right, next on my list is TV2 SIN. Bill, how was your week there?
Good evening, Frank, and everybody else on the net. Week is uneventful. I took the night off tonight, and wife's birthday's tomorrow, so I took the night off tonight and spent some time with her and the family. And as far as the CV goes, wow, that's where I got my start with everything. That's where I started going broke. Started in the '70s. My parents had an old Lyco Centennial at the house on the north side of Binghamton. Had a tower in the backyard, 55-foot tower with a astro beam on top of it. And then we moved to the mobile and had an old Johnson Messenger 6 channel. And moved up to where I stopped it quite a few years ago with a Cobra 135. Back when they started out with 23 channel and ended up with 40 channels. Had a good time with it. I had a couple different handles. Had a handle of Popsicle Kid and Doberman. And when we started, had a call sign of KMP 952. It's amazing. 50 years ago, I can remember it. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Patrol cars no longer have CDs in them, so they can't listen to those out there. They don't want to listen to that stuff. They got enough other radio traffic and worry about other things than CB. But that's my take on CB. And then I moved into ham radio, and here I am. Back to you, Frank. KB2SIM.
Yeah, very good there, Bill. And yeah, thanks for that information as well. I wasn't aware that they started off with 23 channels before, but I do recall that they had 40 channels now for that. Okay, this is W2FJH with the STNY digital voice net. Before I get to my next station, let's take a standby if there's any additional stations to check in. I did see N3TYM, Dylan. I did have you checked in, so I would like to recognize you. But let's see if there's any additional stations that would like to check in this evening. Please call now. Okay, nothing heard there. So we will go down to AI6IG. John, how was your week there?
Yeah, this is AI6IG. I forgot my call sign for a second. Interesting. I did some POTA chasing, hunter, and got into, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 over the week. As far as CB radio goes, I have an older RCI 2950DX, and I happened to have hooked it up last weekend. And I was surprised. I heard a lot of stuff, but most of it was garbage. Back in the '70s, I used to use it, driving, traveling, and it was pretty handy then, tell you what cops were, what mile markers, and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's changed a lot. Well, I know a lot of truckers have gone to amateur radio, and as mentioned earlier, the family radio service. Interestingly, I picked up a used Zyger G90, and I wanted to use it mainly for digital communications. And for getting out in POTA and SOTA. And I It came last night in the mail. I got it all hooked up this morning, spent about an hour, got it working with JS8, made a couple of contacts, thought I'd try Digimo or FL Digi, and everything completely fell apart. I mean, everything broke. Couldn't get it to work with FL or with JS8 call again. So I don't know what happened there, but FL Digi totally screwed everything up. I'm doing all this on Windows, and I'm primarily a Linux person. So I think I'm going to pull out the Linux laptop and see if I can. I always have, for some reason, most people complain about FL Digi on anything but Windows, and I've always had much better luck with it on Linux. So back to the net.
Hey, very good there, John. That was actually I was looking at getting my general. That was one of the radios I was looking at was the G90, and I do know it has some overheating issues that they feel like a case. I'm not sure if you also picked that up or not, but it has a case with it that has a fan on the underside of it that apparently does wonders for the heating issues. So. All right, next on my list is KE2ANQ. John, how was your week there?
KE2ANQ. Hello, everybody on the net. First time on the DMR thing. I've been home about a month. And finally got this thing up and running after about 3 weeks of headache. As far as TV goes, when we had hot rods back in the day when I was young, we used to put them in the cars and do different things and find out where everybody was. That was handy back then. Other than that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Frank.
Hey, very good there, John, and welcome to the hobby there. I didn't realize not only was this your first time here on the net here, but also you said you were a new ham 1 month ago. So welcome to the hobby, and just so you know, I'm not sure if you caught the intro to this net, but you can find more information about this net at STNY.DMR.net. That's Sierra Tango November Yankee Delta Mike Romeo.net. And you can also find us on 73.net. That's the word 7 spelled out, and then the numeric number 3. So Sierra Echo Victor Echo November numeric number 3.net. You find a lot of information there. Also, I think I had NE2W has let me send it over to him. I think it's info.ne2w.net. Not sure on that. I'll send it over to Ed there, but Ed also has a very good informational page there with a lot of info for you. So, Ed, if you're still around, can you give us that link there? So I need to W. This is the STNY Digital Voicemail.
Yeah, I'll say hello to John. It was good to see you at the meeting. And it's info, info.ne2w.com. ne2w.com. Also, if you go to w2ow.org, on there's a link to the same info page. I got back into the hobby a couple of years ago after a hiatus, and this kind of my note where the repeaters are, where licensing is, local hams, you get a call sign, you can click on it and see who it is, and also information about the DMR last stuff that I collected in my notes. Thanks, Frank. Ne2W.
Oh, thank you there. And I couldn't remember if it was .com, and I was guessing .net, but yeah, it's .com. So, okay, I'll just send it back to John really quick before I get to my next station. Make sure he was able to get his pen to work fast enough to jot all these URLs down. So, K2ANQ is W2FGH. Yeah, I've had a lot of help from your guys getting this stuff set up here.
Yeah, appreciate all of that. I don't want to say names. I think one was Ed and one was Frank. But either way, if I'm getting names wrong, I apologize. But yeah, they were a great help. I'm gonna turn it back over to you guys. 7-3.
Hey, no problems there, John. And yeah, don't worry about getting a name or a call sign wrong. I mean, I'm net control here, and sometimes if I didn't have it in front of me, I'd probably mess up half the call sign. So, all right, very good there. So next on my list is N2NCB. Paul, how was your week there?
Hello again, Frank and all into NCP here. Well, first of all, um, John, ANQ, and Gary, in checking in, they beat me out. And that's okay. We made it in. Busy week. We were doing a lot of out and out and headed westward a couple times. And having a blast with 15 meters. It's been really open, and I got worked three, no, worked four Japan stations, and three of them have already confirmed contacts. So that was pretty good. All with good signals too. So and the rest of the bands have been somewhat open, but 15 has been really working slick with me. As far as the CB goes, I got a unit because a couple of times we went out to Colorado, Colorado Springs, Fort Carson, where my youngest daughter and her family are and were. But we went out 2 times, so I got a rig to slap in the car just on see weather-wise and what traffic might be out there. Especially because the first time we went out, we made a stop in Kansas for overnight, and the road. One of the reasons was the road was closed. I mean, literally closed with gates across the interstate because 2 or 3 18-wheelers had been blown over by the wind. So, so that's all that was used for. It's just information purposes of what might be ahead of us. But I had the ham radio in there as well, and not knowing where all the repeaters might be out there, that came in handy that way. So I think that's it from this end. I'll turn it back to you, Frank. Take care, all into NCB.
Hey, very good there, Paul. And yeah, that's definitely a road closed. They have some gates in front of it there, and it seems like a common trend. A lot of folks are saying that it's for traffic. They were using CB radios for traffic signaling, and even nowadays, but even some people have moved over to GMRS. But I listen to GMRS too, and I really don't hear much activity on there either while I'm traveling. So would be good if we had an alternative. I mean, there is some apps and things like that, but sometimes are not updated real time, and a lot of for people to get out there and nobody notifies them. So yeah, kind of a service I guess we're losing there. So all right, next on our list is N3PYM. Dylan, how was your week there? Hopefully, Dylan is still around with us there. I do see him on Zetlogger there. So let's give it another go there. See if Dylan's maybe having some technical problems, or maybe I change talkers there. But it's N3 PYM Dylan. If you are there, let us know. W2OTH. Okay, and maybe Dylan's having some technical problems there. Okay, so in the meantime, I've hit the end of my list here. So let's take a standby for any and all stations that would like to check in to the STNY digital voice net. Please call now. Okay, with nothing heard there, we'll make this final call for any additional stations that would like to check into the STNY digital voice net, or any station that haven't checked in that have any additional comments, questions, or concerns. Please call now. All right, then. We will wrap things up here then. I'd like to thank Brian, Ed, Mitch, Bill, John 1 and John 2, Gary, Paul, and Dylan for joining us this evening. We'll be returning this talker back to normal amateur radio use. So everybody have a great and safe week there. This is W2FJH. I will be listening. And just for those folks that might be joining us on Zoom, our topic this evening, we'll be talking about a code plug, migrating code plug, the TYT MD UV390, kind of a continuation from last week. We looked at some CSV files, and we'll be continuing to try to make progress on migrating the template file over to the TYT MD UV390. All right, we'll see you folks over on Zoom. It's W2FJH. I'll be listening.
Okay. Hey, Megan. Hey, Ed. I can hear you.
Hey, how's the baby doing?
Sorry, one second. I forgot to stop recording.